You are looking live inside the Mack Sports and Exhibition Complex on the campus of Hofstra University in Hempstead, Long Island, where in about a half an hour, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton will meet in the first presidential debate prior to the 2016 general election. As we continue with our pre-debate special here on Newsmax TV, it is worth noting that this 2016 campaign is being widely regarded as one of the nastiest in our history. However, past campaign cycles have been soiled by dirty tricks, including one involving two of our founding fathers. Our Bill Tucker has more.
Jefferson Adams 1800.
That's very
was
nasty.
A nasty
Yes.
campaign where Jefferson went out and actively solicited a pamphleteer who was rather controversial to make. I laughed when I was reading about this. The charge against John Adams that he had was hermaphrodite, basically. In 1800, Thomas Jefferson covertly conspired with a controversial pamphleteer, James Callender. Callender published a series of pamphlets spreading lies about Jefferson's opponent, John Adams, saying that he wanted to start a war with France, and even accused Adams of having an hermaphroditical character, which has neither the force of a man nor the gentleness and sensibility of a woman. Jefferson won. But when he denied Callender the favor of being appointed as postmaster of Richmond, Virginia, in 1802, Callender published a series of pamphlets charging Jefferson sired a number of children with his slave, Sally Hemings, a charge that wasn't proven true until 1998. And these were guys who knew each other.
Right. They had been collaborators. They had been in the revolution together. And, you know, when there's nothing, there's no enemy as bad as old friends. I mean, that's when it really gets ugly.
And history reminds us after that tough campaign, they reconciled, eventually, about 20 years later. Let's continue the conversation by welcoming back our good friend from Newsmax New York, for whom the Steve Malzberg Show is named, our own Steve Malzberg. Tonight, center screen from Northern Virginia, in a home that just breathes history, is our own Reagan biographer and political historian Craig Shirley, and a lady who has made her share of political history, being elected lieutenant governor of the great state of New York, Betsy McCaughey, likewise at Newsmax New York. So, goodness knows, politics can be rough, and these televised presidential debates ratchet up the stakes exponentially. In fact, why don't we take a look at some blunders that are quite memorable and perhaps did in some presidential candidates in earlier televised debates?
Who am I? Why am I here?
It's three agencies of government when I get there that are gone: commerce, education, and the, what's the third one there? Let's see.
I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.
And obviously we should point out that final exchange was no blunder. It was Ronald Reagan putting to rest the age question asked during his second debate in 1984 with former Vice President Mondale. Why don't we talk to that Reagan biographer, Craig Shirley, about that moment? Really, Ronald Reagan rose to the occasion both in 1980 in that final debate and in that rematch with Walter Mondale for memorable moments that stick with us all, Craig.
Yeah, actually, JD, thank you, is that many people underestimated Reagan's skills as a debater. I remember in 1967, there was a famous ABC televised debate between Governor Reagan and Senator Robert Kennedy, and Reagan basically wiped the floor with Robert Kennedy. In 1980, Jimmy Carter couldn't wait to debate Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan again bested him. Mondale, even in 84, still underestimated Reagan. Reagan didn't have such a, by 84, he didn't do such a bad job, but expectations were so out of control, he was expected to pulverize Mondale, and when he turned in a subpar performance, everybody started saying, well, he's too old and he's too tired. maybe he should not seek another term. But he did, you're right, he did turn around in the second debate. And it wasn't really that his performance was so great. He just issued a memorable line, which we're talking about tonight. But people always underestimated Ronald Reagan throughout his political career, legislatively, politically, and in terms of debates.
Underestimated him right into the history books. Betsy McCaughey, you look at tonight's two candidates. Who has the most to lose in this opening debate?
Well, I think Hillary Clinton does. Most people expect that Donald Trump has the most to lose. But in fact, it's Hillary Clinton because, number one, the expectations are so high for her. Her entire life, she's presented herself as the smartest girl in the class. So any factual error, any pause will give rise to real doubts. In addition, everyone is watching to see whether Mrs. Clinton has the stamina to stand on the stage for 90 minutes and debate Donald Trump because her health has been so much in question lately. And thirdly, she is the candidate running to continue the failed record of Barack Obama. So everyone watching who is earning less than they earned in 2007 or doesn't have a job really wants answers, and Hillary Clinton doesn't have any.
Steve Malzberg, you've known Donald Trump for quite some time. Trump, we heard Craig talk about Ronald Reagan being underestimated. Some would argue that Donald Trump got into this thing because he was ridiculed, underestimated, and boy, did he open some people's eyes. Can he do that enough with swing voters tonight to keep the momentum, Steve?
I think he absolutely could, and that's why I think they both have a lot to lose if there's a poor performance. But I think Donald Trump, who has closed every gap, closed every poll, taken leads. If he's not tied, he's leading. And this is all since the Democratic convention, when Hillary got that bounce and that bump. And people thought it was over. 15-point lead here, 15-point lead there. So if he does something that that puts him in a bad light, that turns people off who have been turning on to him, because don't forget, this is the biggest audience. See, if 100 million people dwarfs anything that has been reached so far by either candidate, either through commercials or their own debates or our own convention. So I think he has to be careful. He has to play it calm. Again, he could say what he wants, but he's got to do it in a calm manner. You don't want to lose and have Hillary take a 6-7-point lead after this debate.
You know, JD, one thing I want to agree with both previous commentators on what they said. The only thing I would like to add is that it's almost like both sides have forgotten politics 101, which is to keep expectations low. Hillary's supporters have been boosting her expectations, but so have Donald Trump's. Now, setting aside that, I agree that I think that her expectations are somewhat higher than they are for Donald Trump, so that she goes in more seen as a seasoned debater. Thus, if they tie, he'll be declared the winner.
Only about a minute left, and I'd like you guys to each weigh in on this if you can. Article, I believe in Politico, said that the first 30 minutes of this debate are crucial. After that, people starts changing the channel, their attention span goes. Betsy, how crucial are the first 30 minutes?
Well, it's especially crucial for the two debaters because the first 30 minutes sets the tone within each debater. Am I doing well? Do I feel confident? Is this going smoothly? So even more than for the audience, it's crucial for the debaters.
What about it, Steve? 15 seconds to you, pal.
Yeah, I agree with Betsy. I agree with Betsy, and in addition, you only have one chance to make a first impression, and there's going to be tens of millions of people who aren't familiar with Donald Trump, and especially Donald Trump, so he's going to have to make a good first impression.
Last word to you, Craig Shirley, on that whole topic.
Politico knows nothing about politics. Most of these debates that turned elections, the candidate either scored a home run or made a error late in the game. So I would say the first 30 seconds are opening, but the final 60 minutes are even more important.
And we thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. Craig Shirley from Northern Virginia, Steve Malzberg and Betsy McCaughey, both from Newsmax, New York. Now, again, we want to remind you that our coverage continues tonight right on through midnight Eastern Time. And after you watch the debate, we very much want to know who you think won it. And you can tell us who won the debate, in your opinion, by going to newsmaxpolls.com. That's newsmaxpolls.com. Now, when we come back, obviously there is lots more to talk about on this program, and that includes the input, the wit and wisdom of you two faves and two top Trumpers, Diamond and Silk. So both the precious stone and the silky smooth approach coming up as our coverage. Pre-debate coverage continues tonight in this Newsmax TV pre-debate special as we continue on here with this program. Stay with us.